Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you for jumping on. Part three of Aaron's ultimate listing process. It's been really good. Last week it was good. He got through about half of what he had planned because there's just so much in there. It's loaded with content. I've been applying stuff. I've been setting up my home bot, and Aaron's going to help me do some more of that. We might actually do. We talked about doing just kind of a training on HomeBot, just him and I. I'll record a Zoom and put it out there, just because that's a whole process. I'm working on getting my Google business page going. There's just a lot there. He had so much in there last week. And so we did decide to add one more week on. You probably saw that. We're going to basically carry on with what he was doing last week, take it into today, and then we'll finish it up next Wednesday. So if you are a guest with us, of course, this is open to everybody. We welcome you. This is not an EXP, event at all. We do this stuff with our Freedom Team group. Really, every month on Wednesdays, we're having different series. Some might be 1 or 2 parts, some might be 4 parts like this, or even longer, just taking a deep dive into a particular topic. Every Tuesday morning, we do just a mastermind idea. Sometimes we'll have a topic, sometimes the first Tuesday of every month, like next week, it'll just be open forum. And you're all welcome to this, all the stuff we do. We're all in this together. We're all working through this market together. There's plenty to go around. And the more we help each other and strengthen each other and everything else, I think the better off we are, the better off the business is, the better off our reputations are in this industry. Be professionals in this industry, So it is great to have you all on here. We welcome you. Again, if you can, turn on your cameras. The more participation with this, the better. I'm going to leave it up to Aaron, how he's done the last few weeks. There'll be some times along the way where you can put your questions in the chat. You can also raise your hand, through Zoom here. There's a feature there where you can do that, and we will definitely get your questions answered, though, before we're done. So with that, just a quick intro of Aaron. If you have not seen the first 2 parts, those are recorded. You can find those on the Freedom Team YouTube page or at freedomteamsupport.com. If you go on there, and you can see all the recordings of all the things we've done, including the last 2 weeks of Aaron's presentation here. Okay. So I would recommend you go back and watch those, whatever. They're just going to build on to all this kind of stuff that we're talking about here today and next week. So I've known Aaron now for, over 20 years. We've become great friends. We've been on vacations together, his wife and my wife, and, hooked up with our kids. They came up here and went skiing. We all had, dinner together one day and whatever up here in Colorado. He lives down there in Dallas, and, we were both part of a coaching program with Craig Proctor. Craig, at the time when we both got into real estate, Craig was the #1 RE/MAX agent in the world. And we met at a conference in Phoenix, Aaron and I, and joined up into Craig's coaching program. Really propelled our businesses. I mean, I think it's important to get a good coach if you can do it, whatever. There's lots of ways to get it nowadays that you can save a lot of money on it. One of the nice things here about EXP is all those people I was in that coaching program with, they're all here now, which is nice. So we get access to everybody all the time. But within 2.5 years, I was in the top 20 here in Colorado Springs, and it was really because of that program. I just plugged it in. Aaron grew his business all the way up to top 50 of Keller Williams worldwide. So has done a ton of stuff, sold over 3,000 homes, started his own brokerage in 2009, and then actually brought that brokerage over here to EXP back in 2018. Is that right, Aaron?
Yes.
2018. There you go. So anyway, I'm going to let you take it away. You got a lot to talk about, so I will shut up. I've got my pen and paper out, taking notes. Probably more to implement today. It's keeping me busier. So anyway, I appreciate what you're doing. You got some unique stuff going on. So thank you again for doing this. I know there's plenty of other things you could be doing, but we appreciate it. So go for it, man. It's all yours.
The heart of the teacher, it takes me back to my roots as a high school teacher.
School teacher before real estate. There you go.
Yeah, so I actually enjoy doing this. If I could get paid doing this all day, I would do that instead of selling houses. So what we're going to get into, if you didn't get the first 2 sessions that we did, the first session was how do you prepare for a listing appointment once you've got it or booked the appointment. The second one was basically marketing, and we're saving the listing presentation to the very last one. But the second one was basically marketing. How do we get listings? How do we get listing appointments? Things like that. So if you haven't seen them, I would recommend it. I also want to go into this with a caveat, as there's a million ways that you can market a home once you have it for sale. And there's no 100% right way to do it. I think what you do is you want to do more than your competitor does, at least show that when you are in a listing presentation with someone, because that's going to help you get the listing. So for me, we really focus in on the front end, which is preparing the home to look its absolute best prior to getting it on the market and then when on the market. So just before we start, I'm going to share my screen here, and this is always a dangerous proposition, so we'll see how this goes. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, so this is going back to last week's presentation. Remember, we sent out this email. I let you listen to this YouTube video about sending out these basically anniversary emails, or you should be sending these to your sphere, even if you didn't sell their house, about their home value at least once a year. Depends how big your database is. Mine's over 300, so they get it once a year. If it was 100, they'd maybe get once a quarter, they would get an update on their market value. But it's a simple 2 to 3 minute video. And here you can see the actual email that I typed out. You know, can you believe it's been 5 years? Here's a little YouTube video of what your home's doing, value, so on and so forth. And she responds back, wow, thanks, Aaron. This is top-notch customer service. Hope you're doing great. You know, so just proof that these work, that when you put these things into place, they work. She's already subscribed to the YouTube channel, which I asked her to do in the video, if you remember. Another thing that works is getting homes sold based using the systems that we're talking about. So we've kind of used that Tugman property from start to finish here. Well, that one closed last week. As you can see, they left an awesome review. Again, I send this out to them, prompting them to do it, or they're not going to leave you a review. You know, people are 10 times more likely to leave a negative review than a positive one. So you have to prompt them to give you something positive. But again, Aaron was extremely diligent through the entire process. He brought detailed comparison information to our first meeting, provided a clear outline to prepare to list, and delivered an amazing online package. That was what I delivered to them prior to even meeting with them, remember? So again, proof is in the pudding. This stuff works if you put it into place, right? And I know if you're starting from scratch, it may seem very overwhelming and that there's a lot to do, but you know, it's an elephant, eat it one bite at a time, or however that saying goes, you know? So getting into actually marketing a property, the very first thing that we do, and why I'm going into marketing a property prior to doing the listing presentation, is the bulk of my listing presentation talks about our marketing. So I didn't want to talk about all the things we do, and then you'd have questions. I don't know, how'd you do that? How do you do that? You know, so this solve those questions first, then we'll do the presentation. We can get through it in probably 30 minutes or so versus an hour plus, like when I'm with a client. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to do home staging. If you do not have a professional home stager, you need to get one. Whether that's contact local agents that use staging, or I found most of the people we utilize as far as professionals outside of real estate through a local BNI group that I'm in. I used to use one stager, and she was really combative. Like she was a high D, and she just tell it like it was. And those, you know, S and C personalities didn't do real well with that. So I was always looking to replace her, but I couldn't find somebody. I'm in a BNI group. We bring a stager in, and she's awesome. She's like 4'8", the sweetest little thing on the planet, and she's really good at what she does. And basically, that's our first step. I pay for the initial staging consult and up to $500 of any staging expenses. Now, if you've ever done any staging, you know that doesn't go very far. But I used to do, you know, if it's over a certain price point, I'll cover all staging. Well, then I was treated like an open checkbook, and I got like a $6,000 bill once, and I was like, what the heck is going on? So we stopped that. So that's the very first step. Second step is hire a professional photographer. Do not take the pictures yourself unless you just honestly can't afford to hire somebody. Like if it's your very first transaction, I get it. You may not have any money. dropped all this money towards the MLS and all the other things that go into getting into real estate. You may not have any money. I get that. We have a solution for you though. So the very first thing is hire a professional photographer. I also found them in my BNI group. There's a local one in Dallas Fort Worth called Shoot to Sell. They will come in, they hire like 30 photographers and they come in and do the HDR photos. They're okay for a starter, but eventually you want to move into somebody that does this full time and that's all they do, and they control all the images. The reason I use my photographer is I have licensing for all the images forever. So I can use them in my marketing. A lot of companies like Shoot to Sell and other companies like that, they put a limited use license on the photos. So once the property sells, you're no longer, by their technical terms, allowed to use those images. So it is important to read the fine print on some of those. So here's people that do my photography. This is 2401 Watercrest, the Tugman property that we just closed on. You can see we get high quality images. They deliver everything from MLS compatible links, marketing links to video. And they are, really, really good. So like if I was to launch the tour, you can see the images here. I'm gonna move you guys. So it's a little slower when we're using Zoom. So high quality, they use their own lighting. So they bring in lighting. It just looks awesome when we bring them into a house. This looks way better than you can ever produce with your cell phone. Now, some of this, to some of you guys that have been in the business for a while, this is old hat. You probably already have a professional photographer. These guys also do all of our drone stuff. So they create drone videos for us.
Looks good. It's playing choppy on the Zoom, but yeah.
So it gets a little choppy when we do Zoom, but
yeah, no, for sure. It's good though.
But you can kind of see the reason we utilize this is we drone all of our homes that have something unique by them. Like this was a block off the golf course, as you can see. So obviously we want to show something that's unique about this home, show them the golf course. The cool thing about this is we actually showed this to a person that was getting their home ready to go on the market with another agent. They had made an offer with that agent and we didn't take it because it was contingent. They have now fired that agent because they couldn't get their home sold because they overpriced it immensely. They've called us and we're going to go in and do the deal for them on their $850,000 golf course home. So good marketing, because what I did was when they came in the property, I send all this stuff to them. Hey, if you want to take another look through the property, here's the drone footage. Here's the professional photos. Here's our 3D tour, which we're going to get into here in just a second. And then I just pound them with stuff. Even though they weren't my client, they told me right up front they had an agent. By them giving me their information, they're agreeing for me to give them information on my home. I wasn't trying to sell our services, but when they saw what we did versus what their listing agent did, which was take regular pictures with a phone, she took the pictures, kind of tells you who's more in charge of the marketing aspect of things, right? So next thing we do is once we get the photos from the professional photographer, the 3D tour, the drones, all that stuff, we use a company called boxbrownie.com. Do people use this company? If you don't, you should, because it's super cheap and it's awesome at what they can do. So if you saw on this image, you can see the grass is kind of dead. We're that time of the year, they just don't look all that great. Well, here's all the things they can do. They can do image enhancement, which means green up the grass, take cars off the street, things like that. They can also do virtual staging, which we've utilized them for, which is in my presentation. So if I'm ever at a vacant home or a home that has a couple empty rooms, maybe as a divorce or something like that, I can tell them we can fill the room for them with virtual staging, and we show them how to do that. data dust photos, and you can see how cheap this is. Image enhancements, $160 a piece. So if we go to jobs here, you can see all
$1.60. So you said $1.60?
60 cents per picture, right?
Oh, okay, yeah, that's cheap.
So here's Watercrest. This is the home we just did. And you can see the difference. This is if we did the data dust. I didn't like how the data dust turned out because it made it a little darker. So we didn't utilize those. But again, these cost $4 a piece. And that's to put this fancy, you know, clouds behind it. And what we're doing is wanting to make this pop online. So when people are scrolling through searches on Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, they actually stop on an image and click to see the rest of the images. It helps for retargeting, remarketing, things like that. So here's the other one that we did utilize these pictures. This is just the image enhancement, $1.60 per picture. You can see if I'm marketing this property online, are you going to stop on this home or are you going to stop on this home? Right? So again, it helps with the marketing aspect of things. You can even see that they edited the clouds and stuff in the background, made the sky a little brighter, clouds pop a little bit more. Everything's a little brighter and crisper. Same thing in the backyard. This looks like this could be a mud pit in the back corner. This looks awesome. Now, is this illegal to do? No, because we're not advertising anything that isn't already there or could be there. We're not putting a pool in the backyard. Now, in our MLS rules, when we use virtual staging or a digital edit to this sort, we have to say digital edited or virtual staged or what have you in the description of the photo. That's all we have to do. You can see another one here in the backyard. Those look awesome compared to, even though we used a professional photographer, they can't change the time of the year, right? So Box Brownie is an awesome company to utilize to enhance the images that you have. And you can see we use, what, 5 pictures here of just the exterior. And they'll do interior, they'll do headshots, they'll do all sorts of image enhancement for you. So we did 5 pictures. I think it cost us a total of $8 to get all 5 of these done, right? $8 well spent. Home sold in 3 days for $40,000 more than this price. If you don't have the ability to hire a professional photographer, Box Brownie has this company called Snap. It's a stupid name, but it's an app that you can download on your phone. And you can actually take pictures of your homes, okay? This was the original picture. This is after Box Brownie got it. So what you do is you take the pictures with your phone like you normally would do. You upload them directly through the app since they own it, right into your Box Brownie account. They will do all the digital edits for you and put them and then send them out to you. So you can see you get some pretty good pictures without having professional photography. It's never going to be as good as professional photography. I feel like on the inside, a lot of times when this is kind of what's called HDR photography. When you take HDR photography, it flattens out the image. You don't get any shadows or any emotion in the property. And that's what, you know, you kind of want to create when you're trying to sell a house. But if you can't go the professional photo route, definitely go this route because it's super, super simple and pretty cheap in all regards there. So any questions so far?
Good. How much do you how much does your photographer charge, Aaron?
So it depends on the size of the house. So a
Sure.
house under 2,000 square feet is $149. 2,000 to 3,000 square feet is $179, and I think 3,000 above is $199 unless it gets into like luxury range.
Okay.
And then if we want them to do data dust photos, you know, like at 7 p.m. or what have you, they'll charge another trip fee and some extra fees for that. They charge whatever the price is of the home is what they charge for the drone video as well. So like this one was like 2,400 and some square feet. So I think it was $179, and then the drone was $179 as well too.
Right.
and we
Do
pay.
they put together the video tour and all that stuff for you?
Yeah, so they drone footage and the video tour and all that stuff they create. Now, I kind of use their video tour because I have all the rights to do whatever I want with it. So we will download it and I will do some like voiceover stuff in the house myself with my phone. And then I'll drop like drone footage and things like that in it and create a YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, which, is part of the marketing program that we utilize too. So I don't like 5 minutes of just a house is like, and some background music is boring as I'll get out. So even if the house is cool, so I want to add a little bit more emotion, describe the house a little bit, so we'll use some of their footage with our own.
Sure. It's good. Alex, can you unmute yourself?
Yep.
There you
Yeah.
go. Go ahead, ask your question.
Thank you. Aaron, I'm in Miami and we tend to see what I call is an over embellishment. So you'll see great pictures, you'll get to the condo, the house, and it looks nothing like that. Where does one draw the line in editing?
So for me, the only thing I edit is edit stuff out, like cars on the street, things like that. Or if they left the TV on and the pictures were taken, or there was a coffee mug on the bar or something like that, I'll edit those things. I will not change the house itself. The biggest thing we have, I don't know about over embellishment, but we get a lot of these companies, they use, for lack of a better word, just like a wide angle lens, and it makes that room look 30 feet wide and it's only like 12, like it's ridiculous, right? So for me, I want to market the home as it is. So when someone walks in, it's good. Now, the only embellishment sort of thing that we do is that virtual staging. But like if you're looking at this picture in the upper right-hand corner and you're searching through realtor.com, Zillow, what have you, would you rather go visit this house or visit this house? And that's what is always in my mind. Which home, as a buyer, would I rather go to? So that's what I need to market with.
That makes sense. If I could add on to the question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I have a property that is in complete disarray and it's a gut job. What do you recommend in a situation like that?
I take I've been known to list a few crappy homes. I still take professional because my marketing now is towards investors, right? So show it in the light it's in, now if it's a hoarder's house, which we have had some of them, there's obviously a lot fewer pictures that are taken. Maybe just exteriors, things like that, or maybe 1 or 2 snaps of the interior just to show, hey, these guys are not clean. So you have a lot of work ahead of you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Cool. Any other questions, anybody at this point? Cool. Go ahead, Aaron.
All right, perfect. So we'll go on to the next. So the next thing that we utilize is Matterport. Matterport's been around since 2011. I've been a Matterport user owner since 2013. So one of the things that, if I have a fault and also a gift, it's seeing things that I want, and so I just go get it because I think it'll enhance my business. So that was when I first saw Matterport. I was like, I got to have this. I think it'll be monumental to be able to sell myself and do things other people can't. Now 3D tours have made a huge impact, especially COVID kind of ramped them up big time. The coolest thing about Matterport, we own the equipment, so we do all our own Matterports. It's a lot cheaper than hiring them out. I know companies that do them and they charge, 60 to 80 cents a square foot, which gets pretty expensive pretty fast. When we bought the equipment, I think it was like 10 grand, which is not cheap, believe me, but we've owned it for 8-9 years now, or however long it's been. And we've done hundreds of tours with it. and the equipment still works, it's still good. That's what produced this Matterport here image. And why we utilize them at first, it was just to set ourselves apart. Then COVID came and it was like people were hiring us to do their Matterports for them because there was only so many people that had Matterport in the area. So we were actually using it as another revenue stream. Now we don't do that anymore because now more and more people have them. There's a lot of you don't have to use Matterport. There's a lot of people that do this, but I love Matterport. I've used it the longest. If you've ever seen Matterport, this is kind of what it looks like, kind of their signature, right? Is you can walk through the home like you're in it. I don't know how this is going to translate on Zoom because it slows everything down, but you know, I can walk through the house, I can look up, I can look down, I can zoom in. You know, if there's a coffee mug on the counter, I can zoom in and read it, you know, so I can go up the stairs. So we go in our listing presentations and show all of this and why this is so beneficial and how we've actually sold homes to people in other states that never even came to look at the home in person because they had this to walk through. If you have a VR headset, and this is exactly how I explain it when I'm doing a listing presentation. If you have a VR headset, you can actually click this button right here and download a VR app, put your headset on, and you can be sitting at your kitchen table, turn your head to the right, and you're in that home, turning your head to the right. Look up, you're gonna look up. You put your eyes in the green dot, you're gonna walk forward. So at your kitchen table in Los Angeles, you can view this home just like you're in it, right? That's a huge selling feature to potential buyers. The other thing that potential buyers always want and they never get unless it's a new home build is a floor plan. So we actually have the floor plans right here for them, right? Matterport does have a feature where you can actually order technically drawn floor plans right from them. I think they're $14. So this is the first floor. If I want to go second floor, I can see the second floor and it ghosts the first floor underneath. So I can see which room sits on top of which room. Completely handy, that especially with people that have kids, you don't want the game room above the master, right? Things like that. So again, huge benefit. I can go back, I can walk the home. Whoops, you go right into a wall. Right, so I can walk the property. I can, you know, measure each room. So we utilize these for our measurements. So we never have to go measure a home ever anymore because we do a Matterport on every single house. So I can go, hey, I want to know the size of this room. As you can see, we've already done it on this one. And you can see the measurements of all the rooms. This is what Matterport uses to take their technical diagrams from. And then if we go into the add-ons, no, downloads, sorry, they actually give videos. So we utilize these videos in our marketing as well. When we're creating Facebook posts, anything like that. If you guys have seen any of my stuff, you've probably seen this. Like, how the heck does that, you do that? Matterport does it for me. So this is a 9-second video. And we always go over this view because just sellers think it's really cool. You know, the what they call the dollhouse. So you can see first floor and second floor, and I can spin all the way around the house. If you saw on the space itself, you know, this is the dollhouse. So I can actually, whoops, I gotta get both floors in. I can go like this and spin around the house and see everything. I think it's completely pointless, but sellers seem to love it. So we'll do what they want. You can also do exteriors with this. I still have a measure button on. So we do take pictures of the exterior of the property as well with the Matterport camera because you can walk in, walk out, all of that. So Matterport's really cool. As far as pricing, I don't know what they cost anymore. I know they're a lot cheaper than 10 grand. What I spent, I think they're somewhere in the 3,000 to 4,000 range now. Or you can just, if you're going to list 10, 20, 30 homes a year, it's better to take the hit and spend the money up front and piece them out. Then the next site we utilize is a site called RELA, so RELA, I don't know why it's Rela, real estate, I don't know. RelaHQ.com. The reason we use Rela is it gives us a single page website, and they're cool and they're easy to build. All right, so, and they're cheap. So here's Rela's homepage. If I go in here to pricing, if you have one listing, it's 24 bucks a month. You can have up to 5 listings, it's 49 a month. If you have 25 active listings, it's 99. Now, because our market's so fast and has been since like 2020, I'm at like the $49 a month because we sell homes faster than we can list them a lot of times. And so we never really have more than 5 active listings at a time. If you do, they'll just pop you to the next plan. Pretty simple. And now what Rela is basically a marketing hub for us. I can basically, this is that Watercrest property. So basically what I do is I go in, I'll do a quick little run through Rela because it's pretty awesome. This automatically fills from the MLS. I can go and click all the things that are applicable to the house, or I can just add them, you know, so green grass. Now that's a tag, right? So this is what the internet picks up on. Custom status, just listed, it's actually sold. So, you know, we'd change that to sold, right? Pricing, all that. Then I'm going to go through showing schedule. I never do. Photo gallery. This is where I go and I upload all the photos of the house. Right? Pretty simple. Videos and 3D tours. They've got those too. So here's the video. I upload the video. The 3D tours, the Matterport. I upload the Matterport. And literally, when we get a listing and we put it in there, I can build, or my assistant builds one of these sites in under 10 minutes. It never takes longer than that. The longest time is maybe just to upload stuff. You can add music to it if you want. You can add your documents and floor plans, like seller's disclosure, floor plan. You know, if you ordered that, address and map, it'll put it right on the map for you. If it's wrong, you can change it. This is the coolest part, is the theme. Okay, so when I go to theme, this is my favorite theme, is car, K-A-R-R, but this is the way it looks right now. So if I was to go to the site, this is how it looks. Okay, so when I scroll down on a desktop, the images pop in, kind of cool. I can see all the photos right here. Here's the information about it. Here's the video. Here's the 3D tour. And here's our information. There's the map of the property. Right, pretty simple. The reason I like it and the way I sell this to clients is we want to drive them to a single page website so they're not jumping from property to property to property. I do not want them to leave your house to see somebody else's house and then somebody else's house, and then they can't find your house again. I want them to stay only on your property. That's why we create a single page website. So I can actually go in here and change the theme. And let's say I want it to look like this one. So I'll have to save it. Hopefully this works. I refresh it. Now it's a different theme. You can see it looks different. That's how fast you can utilize. I mean, it's stupid simple, stupid easy. And there's even a, you know, fill out for leads. We don't get a ton of leads off of it. There is lead collection on there. We do put in there that exit intent. So if they go to click out onto another property or into another window, a little box pops up. And it basically says, we'd love to show you more listings in your area. Fill out the form to see everything we have to offer. Or whatever you want to put in there. Everything's super editable, so I can change this and change the text. So it's super, super simple. Domains is, where do you want to, you know, do you want to purchase its own custom domain? No, I usually never do. Sometimes I do. But this is the domain that they assign me. So that's this website right here. Super simple. That's what I would advertise and market with. If I go into advanced, I could do some other cool stuff like send it to different email addresses. You can see this goes to Zapier. The reason I send it to Zapier is if any leads come in, they automatically get put into my CRM. I can add Facebook pixel IDs, Google IDs, all sorts of stuff. And then I can do some more social stuff, right? So I can build out what my Facebook ad looks like, Twitter, so on and so forth. If I pop this up, it's going to open up a new tab and you guys won't be able to see it because it's not the tab I have on screen share. So, but basically it's a click of a button when you're on overview. You click this button right here and your Facebook comes up and it's got your post ready to go. You can just add words or you can just hit post and it posts it for you. That's how fast it is. Super simple. I love Rela because it's easy and provides good, quality imagery.
Do you know, Aaron, because I know you use, if you go back to the first part we did with you, you talked about how you create that page in KV Core that you send to people. I'm assuming, and for those of us at EXP with KV Core included, this probably does, KV Core probably has something like this. Do you know?
Possible? I don't know.
Not sure. Okay, this is something you've used for a long time and it's cheap. I mean, so I could see where this, I like how it looks and stuff.
Yeah, I've never used that. The reason I like this so much is it's just simple. And I can, like I said, create a listing in under 10 minutes and it looks awesome.
Yeah. And Sherry says here in the comments, you can create a landing page for a property with KV Core. I know you can. It's just,
I have Commissions Inc. and I can create a landing page there, but they don't look as good. I mean, that's just the honest truth. I can't put as much into it as far as video and the 3D tour, and they just do not come out as good.
Right.
And I don't know how KV Core set up, but like my Commissions Inc. is if somebody goes to that to see the property and then they click anything, the devil's going to pop up. Hey, give me your information. And then a lot of people bounce. So this, I want to try to give all the information first. And again, like this is almost more of a selling tool for me and getting other listings more than it is for selling the house, unfortunately. But I think it does a good job of that too, presenting the property. Cool. Oh, you can also create brochures and stuff like that too. So you can go down here and click brochures and it'll create brochures and flyers for the house as well too, postcards as well.
Nice.
So
Kate,
cool.
Kate, can you unmute yourself real quick? Are you available, Kate, to do that?
Yeah, I can.
There you go. What was your question?
You said that you don't purchase a custom domain, but what is the domain that this example created? Okay, so it's .re.
Yeah,
okay.
It gives you the address and then .relahq.com.
I know in your very first meeting, you talked about creating a custom website for the YouTube stuff, if I'm recalling that correctly. So now you've created two different URLs for the same property.
Yeah, so this is the custom single page site. We also do YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook videos for the properties. This is the only domain we utilize. Sometimes we run into a problem where it's a common street, and so somebody already has this. So we will go and register a domain just for that street, right? So let's say it's Watercress Drive. This address was somewhere, so it created something crazy like it. I've seen it where it abbreviates Watercress or something like that. Then we'll go into GoDaddy, register a domain name that's specific to that.
Aaron, can you drop that URL in the chat so we can actually maybe go in and interact with it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. So continuing on, so then we would go into, once we've created all of this, we then go into our CRM. Like I said, I utilize Commissions Inc. I am in the process of converting over to KV Core, so I don't know how it works and don't know how to use it. So I still kind of go back to my roots and So I pre-searched this for you guys, just so you know, I used average price and I used favorite city, which is somewhere in here. Oh, there it is, favorite city. So what I did, I searched my entire database, average price between 500 and 750 because this home's priced at 625, right? So that gave me 782 leads that we have created since the beginning of this site. So what I do is I then check all of these people. I don't care how long ago it was. It could have been a million days ago. I don't care, because people don't buy in the same timelines we think they should buy in, right? The average online home buyer takes almost 2 years before they buy a house. The seller, almost 3. By the time they contact an agent, it's like 12 or 13 months for a seller and 9 months for a buyer. So there's long lead times. Look at this person. They've been on my site 2,147 days. That's a long time. I can't even do math, but that's a long time, you know? But they were on my site 2 days ago. I would have never known that, you know, unless I had this information, right? So you can see average price, favorite city. I put Fort Worth, Keller, and Southlake because they're all pretty close to this property, right? That gives me 782 leads. I check them all. I'm going to send marketing of that property, of the RELA site we just went through, to this group of people. I want to try to sell the home myself, right? Maybe I'm selfish, I want to earn twice the commission. But anyhow, so that's how we start when we market every property and market through our database. Then that gives us metrics in here where I can go and look and say, how many people have interacted with that property? So when we do our weekly calls, yes, we call our seller every single week. So every Tuesday is my seller call day. I tell sellers that right up front. Every Tuesday, you're going to hear from me. If you've had 0 showings or if you've had 100 showings, you're going to hear from me every Tuesday. Now, you may not want to hear my voice, so you can just hit decline and I'll leave you a voicemail message with what I would talk to you over the phone. It literally is that fast. Half of them take my call, half of them don't. If I call them, I'm going to say, hey, it's Aaron, you know, this is my voicemail message. I just want to go over your weekly marketing report. We had 87 people view your home on our personal site, 22 on YouTube, 1,100, which is garbage because Zillow puffs their numbers on Zillow, you know, 42 saves on Zillow or whatever it is, because we can get all those metrics off those sites. I basically give them all the stats. Now, we utilize a showing service called showingtime.com here. I know they're in a lot of markets. So anytime someone shows a home and then leaves feedback, they're going to get that automatically. So we don't talk about feedback and stuff unless they want to talk about a personal feedback that was left. We talk about marketing. Why? Because they hired me to market their home. So let's talk about what we're producing on the marketing that we're doing, right? So we don't talk about showings and feedback. Typically, if someone leaves feedback that isn't, we're going to send an offer, they're not interested in your home. Now you can take some of that stuff like, oh, that has Pepto-Bismol pink wall, you need to paint that. And if I couldn't get them to paint that after repeated attempts trying before we went on the market, that's going to help me to get them to paint that, possibly, right? The other thing we do on a daily basis is we, when we first take the listing and it first goes live, we're going to do a neighborhood search of their house. So if their house in this case is in the preserve of Hidden Lakes, we're going to create a search for the preserve of Hidden Lakes, just like they were a buyer. So anytime a new listing comes on the market, they get pinged. Anytime one goes under contract, they get pinged. Anytime one sells, they get pinged. Why am I doing this? And showing them there's activity happening in their market and what the prices are doing every single day automatically. I don't have to think about it. So then if they ask, hey, why isn't the home selling? You know, we've seen 4 others go under contract. Oh, well, those were all priced at $550. You're at $625. That might be the reason. It eases that conversation of talking about price because they're seeing the market and what the market is doing every single day. It's coming right to their email. Videos, we already talked about that. We do coming soon ones, we do on the market, just depends on what they are. Coming soon's a little harder nowadays with all that clear cooperation stuff. So Sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't. As far as signage goes, we do use a 6-foot tall T-posted sign. So our 6-foot tall T-posted sign has our my picture, my wife's picture, because she's better looking than me. So we put that on there. People remember a face more than they remember a name, so that does help for branding, especially when you're doing a lot of video and marketing in the area. We're seen everywhere. Like I was at my son's baseball game on Tuesday, and I had like 3 people stop me. Hey, I see you all over the internet on your videos, you know, and I'm kind of embarrassed because I don't think they're all that good, but they're working. If people are noticing, you know, they're working. And then on that sign, we use 2 different riders. We're going to use our guaranteed sale program rider, which is buy this home, we'll buy yours for cash. It's right there on the sign, every house, doesn't matter. And then we'll use a text rider. Text this number to get the 3D tour and all the pictures of this home. They hit the text, I've got their cell phone number. That's all I need to start marketing to them, right? And then the third sign, or actually the third sign is actually the second sign. It's a separate sign. I'm sorry, I don't have a picture of it. Basically says open house every day, call for times, and it's our office number. It's the exact same number that is on the real estate sign. Or sorry, it's 1 digit off. The real estate sign is 5610. The everyday open house is 5611. The only reason it's different is when someone calls the 5611 number, I know it's a buyer sitting up in front of the house wondering when the open house is. The reason we utilize that is if somebody, and we explain this in our presentation, if somebody was in front of your home and wanted to see it today at 3 o'clock, would you show it? And most sellers are like, yeah. They want to see it at 5, would you show it? Yeah. What about 10 in the morning? Yeah. Okay, so your home basically is open every day as long as there's an appointment to show it, correct? Yes. So your home is an everyday open house. Why don't we market that? That's it. And we get 3 times as many calls on that little bitty corrugated plastic piece of crap sign than we do on our big branded 3D sign. So, and then we use open.
Aaron, real quick, Aaron, do you need to share your screen anymore?
No, I can stop
Go ahead
sharing.
and stop sharing it just so we can see each other a little bit better. And then does anybody have any questions out of that right there? Because that is a great tool, that everyday open house. You know, Saturdays and Sundays, open houses everywhere. But to have an everyday open house, which is essentially what we all have every time we have a listing, it's just, it's a marketing thing, but it brings people in the door. I've done the same thing. We learned that through Proctor.
And
It's powerful.
it's probably the best thing we've ever done as far as signage goes. I mean, we do get some texts, just people want to see the photos and stuff, and we go ahead and number. But when they call that sign, they're ready to roll by. Now, we have had some occurrences, and I had foreign sellers up front. Every once in a while, people can't read, so they'll come up to the door and they'll knock on the door, ring the door, what have you. But you just tell them, hey, the open house isn't at this time. Please call my agent for times. That's it. So their home is open house every day. Because I'm putting it in the buyer's vernacular, right? Buyers love open houses. Why? Because there's no pressure. I can go in with a group of people and maybe the agent won't even see that I'm in there, right? So that's why they love open houses. That's why they hate calling real estate agents, because there is pressure, there is sales. Well, I'm going to make them call me to get in for that low pressure thing, which is a one-on-one appointment for a showing. And I'm going to lock them down as a buyer because I'm going to show them what I do for them on the buyer side.
So when they call, you're just going to automatically go into showing time or something and block it out? Is that what you do? Okay, and then
And it looks like the open house today is from 2 to 3.
Oh,
Is that-
perfect. I love it. And the second question is regarding, you mentioned getting both sides. That brilliant, of course, and you see that a lot. Do you ever offer a discounted commission on one side or the other? Not the listing because you've already taken that commission, but okay, if I've brought a buyer, do you offer it up front or do you wait for them to ask?
Only if they push it. Like only if my seller pushes for it because they've talked to more than one person. And that's my way around it. If they're not pushing it, like if they ask, that's just a question. That's not a lot of people mistake questions for objections. Most of the time, they're just questions. So you answer the question. You know, realistically, we don't make a habit of taking a discount on your listing for doing the job you're hiring us to do. You're hiring us to sell your home, and we're going to put all this stuff out there, and we still have to work two sides of a transaction. If I sold that buyer a different home, I'm going to get a full commission on that. If I sold your house, I'm going to get a full commission on the listing side. So we're still doing two transactions. And actually, I should probably charge you an extra percent because I'm doing more than the other agents because I'm actually selling your home myself. And that only happens 1.6% of the time in our market if we're going to be MLS.
Cool. Okay, thank you.
Great ways of-
That's
great ways of
my
handling it.
question, answer, a free objection handle, because a lot of times it's not an objection, it's just a question.
That's awesome. Kate, you want to ask your question? Go ahead.
Sure. Any chance you could do a rundown of the things that you put on your signs, and do you buy a new sign for each listing?
I buy my listing signs like 10 at a time. So they're a big 30 by 24 panel. I should have brought one in. I have one in the garage. They're a big 30 by 24 panel that hang on a 6-foot tall T-posted sign. Top just says for sale, and then it's got a picture of me and my wife. EXP is obviously on there. Then we have our phone number on the sign, and then underneath the sign, we have a website called greatnewlisting.com. It does not go to that house. It goes to our sync site because we want to capture them as a buyer to brand new listings in the market. So we have it set up in our search of all homes that have been on the market 3 days or less, and it populates and builds a site for them. So that's on there. Then we have, and that's it for the main sign. Then we have the trade writer, the text writer, and we use a separate sign for, the reason we use a separate sign, we used to use it as a writer. We didn't get as many calls because it looked just like a regular real estate sign. You put that separate sign out there, it looks like an open house sign. So, and it's ugly. It's like red and, you know, it says open house every day and has a janky number on it. You know, like it doesn't look good, but we get more signs on that than anyone else. Or calls on that than anyone else.
So you're saying you got 2 signs in the yard,
Two
Aaron?
signs. Yep. Big sign and then a little, I don't even know what the size is, 9 by 12, something like that, corrugated.
Like something we'd buy at Home Depot or Lowe's?
Pretty much, yep. It looks just like an open house sign you would buy at Home Depot, except it is custom because it's got our number on it. But it just says open house every day. Call our office for times.
And those cardboard signs at a sign shop are.
Sorry, did
they're so
you,
cheap.
sorry, did you already talk about the, that phone number that they're texting?
The text number actually is something that's set up through Sync. So it's a number that they assign us and we set it up through them. I know there's a lot of companies that do it. Sync has it built into their site. So I've never utilized any of the companies.
I know that Google allows you to get fake numbers, you know, maybe that could be something to look into.
The only thing with Google, you would have to send through that the materials you're promising. With Commissions Inc., it automatically sends them. So they hit send, they got it in their inbox literally within 2 seconds or on their phone. So a lot of times when that happens and we get a text writer lead on my phone, I'm calling it right there because I know they're sitting out in front of it, walking through that Matterport. Hey, would you like to see this in person? We can probably set up a time. You can see there's an open house every day. I'll just have to see what time works with the sellers that they're having the open house today. That's it. It's easy.
Does that make sense, Kate? And I think, you know, again, if you're utilizing KV Core, I know KV Core, you can set up a phone number, different things. I'm sure it can do something very similar. You know, when Aaron gets fully moved over to KV Core, like he,
Both of them copy each other. You know, they go, oh, that's cool.
yeah. So, Tim, thanks for jumping on. I see you got to go. No worries. Good to see you. One thing, just real quick to hit here, because again, I think we're running into this more and more in this market because you still have sellers that are looking at things from 6 months ago and whatever, they want to overprice their home. We're going to see, you know, more and more price reductions. I think one of the things about this, number one, I mean, with 2 signs, like some people might think like 2 sign writers, 3 sign writers, plus another sign, like that's just too much. But again, the whole idea of this, and this is how, again, what do we call it? Marketing listings for maximum results. Don't just use the listing to sell that house and to get, I see 95% of the signs out there are the homes for sale. Here's the one for sale sign, period. Realtor phone number. That's it.
100%. I never see 2 signs in there.
No, you put out an extra sign, you put out sign writers with domain names, that kind of stuff. The whole idea of this is you're going to pick up more business. You're going to pick up more buyers. You're going to pick up more sellers. The phone's going to ring. You're going to get so many more results from that one property. It's not just about getting that home sold. Yes, get that home sold, but it's about maximizing that to bring in that much more business. And that's what this does. I mean, am I right there, Aaron?
And, when we're talking, so I always, and see, I probably have said that a few times, it's a 6 foot tall T-posted sign, like
It stands out.
stands out versus those little ones you slam in the ground, that you cannot see, especially if you use dark colors. Ours is white. It's got a big picture of my mug on it, and it's reflective. So if you're driving at night, it's like shining back at you. Like it. Yeah, I pay like an extra $5 or $10 for the reflective thing on there. But again, all I want to do is stand out. I want brand recognition. That's it. So I don't care if someone comes and draws a Hitler mustache on me, which has happened more times than I can count. Yeah.
Okay, last question maybe. Where do you order your signs from? Do you know?
So I know EXP has some discounts with sign companies. I utilize Oakley. It used to be an EXP site. They're not anymore, but I like Oakley's signs. They last. They have the reflective thing. So they've got my design. So every once in a while, we'll lose 2 or 3 signs a year to wind and things like that. They just get torn up or beat up. So I would say I order about 10 signs every 3 or 4 years.
Oakley is a good site. There are some in the marketing center in your back office at EXP, if you're part of EXP, and all the companies out there. A lot of the local sign shops. We use a local sign shop here. They've got all of our stuff.
Signs I used them for years and years when I was my own broker. I started using Oakley when I came to EXP. I like Oakley's better as far as the quality of them. As far as the corrugated plastic ones, those get blown away. We lose so many of those, but they're like $1 a piece. We get those at like Fast Signs or Signs Now, or any of the local places can do those in 2 seconds.
One of the things I want to mention here, guys, and Aaron, if you have any other thoughts on this, and you might do it a different way. One of the things that it's just our general rule of thumb, which we haven't had to use a lot in the last couple of years, but we're seeing it more now, is again, and I started to mention this, reducing of price, for the seller. And so I think when you do this kind of marketing and you make that call once a week, here's all the sites you were on this week. Here's how many people viewed your home. Here's whatever. General rule of thumb that I've always used over the years was, every 30 days or every 10 showings, we should at least have an offer. If we've gone, let's say we've had a lot of, 7 days, we had 10 showings, or 5 days, we had 10 showings, but no offers, we're really close. We're not close enough. We're just not good enough yet. We're probably 1.5% to 3% off on the price. You do a 1.5% to 3% reduction in the price, and you're going to get the offer. If we've gone 30 days and we haven't had an offer, we need to reduce the price. Now we've had good showings, but just no offers, 30 days, we need to reduce it. Okay. And I tell them all this up front when I'm meeting with them. So it's not a surprise when I give them this call, like, hey, we need to do it. Sometimes I've even done this. Let's start here. I might even put it in the additional provisions in the contract, so I don't even have to call them. We've already signed off on this, so you can do that. But then the other thing too is, like, when you have this kind of marketing in place and you're doing all these things, the one thing that we'll tell them is, like, look, it's not about people not knowing about your home, because here's all the things I've been telling you. You're on this many sites, you've had this many views, you have all this kind of stuff. People know about your house. They're just not interested in your home at this price. That's just the truth of it.
I never get the objection or the comment, what are you doing to market me? Ever. Never, ever. Because I talk to them every single week about it. And we'll send them examples if they want to see it, we'll send them the numbers. We're not lying, so we haven't had to do that as much lately, but like when the market was tougher, obviously we would build a package that we'd send to them weekly that would show them all the marketing and how many stats. So we just do it without spending the extra time of putting that together because we don't have to right now. But yeah, we use a price on target sheet. So it just is like, it looks like a bullseye and it shows them, if you're not getting any showings, you're probably this far off. If you're getting showings but no offers, this far, and it works its way into and how many percentage they're off. And then we have that conversation, and we don't really talk much about reducing the price. We talk about making a market adjustment. Okay, so it's just better language. And then
Price improvement. That's what we.
Yeah. So
those are the words we use.
we'll use a market adjustment, and then we'll say, so we'll use Watercrest again, 625. So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, your home's at 625 right now. Unfortunately, we're not getting the activity that we need to in order to sell. We look on the price on target sheet. I'd say we're about 3% off of where we need to be. And that's only what, 18, 20,000. I know it's not only, but that's what the market is telling us, the property is probably worth. I don't have a crystal ball, can't tell you exactly what you can sell for, but let me ask you a question. If someone walked up to your front door with a duffel bag full of $600,000 in $100 bills, would you take it? And then you be quiet. And they say yes or no. Yeah, I would take that. If someone had a duffel bag full of $100 bills with 600,000, I would take it for my house. Awesome. Why don't we tell the rest of the market that? And that's what we reduce the price to.
Good. And I think, we'll get into this next week, I'm sure, but going into that appointment, when, we used to tell things all the time, like, look, I can't determine the price of your house. It's not up to me. You can't determine the price of your house. The market is going to determine the price of your house. It's all about supply and demand. That's why the home prices the last couple of years have been so crazy. There's been just such a lack of supply. The more demand I can create on your house, the higher the price we're going to get for it. And then you show them all this stuff that you're going to do, whatever. It's just, it's all these different things that you can do to where they've interviewed 4 other agents and you come in the door, they're going to hire you. And we'll get into that next week. We've got that pre-listing package, that whole thing that Aaron did in part 1, which was phenomenal. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. So good. Okay. Last week, different tools to get listings, marketing ideas, more great stuff, HomeBot, Google My Business, all this stuff that he's doing. Again, all this stuff is very cheap. Okay. The only thing today, Matterport is expensive, but there's ways to do that. If you're doing a lot of listings, look into it. If you're getting a few a year, there's different companies out there that do similar things, or you could hire it out, different ways to do it. Some of the photographers will do some of this kind of stuff, but that Rela, whatever, like that was awesome. That's the first I've heard of that. So just some good tools here that really don't cost next to nothing. And signs, you get them one time and you're going to use them for the next however many years. And to do that and make that listing pop down that street, you're going to pick up that much more business. Now, next week, we'll get into your listing presentation, which is going to kind of put all this stuff together.
Yeah, I think the signs cost about $50 a piece, if I had to guess. But again, you can reuse them, listing after listing after listing. So like I said, we order 10 at a time. Not that we have 10 listings at a time, it's just they give a price break at that point. And when signs get bad or just mangled up, that's kind of a reputation piece. So you don't want a nasty, janky sign in front of a house. That's your business you're promoting. So.
Good stuff. If you guys have any questions out of the guaranteed sale program that he mentioned, that's something he and I have both done also. Your home sold guaranteed, or I'll buy it for cash, or, buy this home, I'll buy yours. That rider that we have out there. We have, I think there's two trainings that we did on that. Aaron did one, we kind of partnered up on one together, different guarantees you can use. Those are all available also at freedomteamsupport.com, or on our YouTube pages, all that kind of stuff. We got all these recordings there as well. Okay. That might be something we dig into again at some point, because again, just different things you can do, to make yourself stand out. That's what a lot of this is. And so, to get more business, get more listings, get more deals, pick up more buyers. So
Aaron?
anyway, good stuff.
Aaron?
Has this been helpful for you guys? Yeah, go ahead, Patricia.
Hi. Okay, on your slides from last week, you said that your listing presentation was quite old. But are those slides on an email, on a Word doc, or something that you could share that we could tweak them to who we are?
Oh, the listing presentation I haven't gone over yet. That's a PowerPoint. So yeah, I'll just upload the PowerPoint. You guys
That'll
can
be
see.
next week, Patricia. His listing presentation. We'll have that next week, and you can share the slides with us. Yeah.
As far as if you were talking about,
No, it was a presentation that you did last week, and you said that the slides were really, really old.
I don't know. Unless it was.
You know
unless
what it was there, and I think it was week 1. You had that package that the
There was a
88
pre-listing
things.
package.
Yeah, pre-listed back, I don't have those where you can just edit them. Obviously, they're available to you. You can go into that link and download them, send them to a VA or something, have them recreated. I bet you if you went on like Fiverr, FIVERR.com, and took that, sent it to them, said, hey, I want this recreated with my brand, my information. Here it all, you can probably get it done for under $100.
Great, okay, thank you.
Those were PDFs. I remember you said, and they, because I remember that old high school picture that you had on there.
Oh, it's better.
So anyway, guys, let's wrap it up. We're running a little long, but great stuff. Thank you, Aaron. Again, just some great ideas, things to think about, things to chew on. Again, just one thing at a time, guys, to implement some of this stuff. It'll open up doors to new things. Hopefully you're getting some good value out of this. Join us next week. If you want to invite your friends, come back. You can bring them along with you. We got plenty of room on here for more people. We'll wrap this up next Wednesday, same time, same Zoom link. It's all there, and we'll have this 4-part series. All 3 parts. This will be uploaded later today, this video. So if you want to watch this again, the other 2 parts are on there right now, freedomteamsupport.com. If you're part of Freedom Team with EXP, you can also find it in Workplace, in the Workplace group. So Aaron, thank you again. Totally appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Guys, have a great day. Okay. We'll see you next week.